Saturday, May 25th. In France, after several days of combat, German troops take Boulogne-sur-Mer, Arras, and Lille. The French General Staff discusses the question of capitulation. Meanwhile, the Allied forces which have not fallen into German hands are sheltering between Calais and Dunkirk, the only port on the north coast, which is still operational despite attacks by the Luftwaffe. Heinrich Himmler suggests the Führer send the SS Lebensstandarte Adolf Hitler Brigade, led by Sepp Dietrich, to the area to prove the superiority of the Aryan race to the British. He presents the Nazi leader with the legal system, which is to be applied in occupied countries. Children will only learn how to count up to 500 in order to be used as cheap labor. The Jewish problem is to be solved by sending Jews to an African country or a distant colony. In Belgium, German soldiers occupy the city of Menin on the River Lys, near King Leopold's headquarters in Ypres. In London, Churchill and his government analyzed the possibility of France being completely occupied and the British Isles invaded by Nazi troops. One option considered is the withdrawal of Royal Navy ships from Singapore for a greater counter-offensive, while an army is formed with men from around the British Empire and with American support. Sunday, May 26th. The British Admiralty orders the start of Operation Dynamo. All fishing, merchant, and recreation vessels are to be requisitioned for use alongside Royal Navy ships commanded by Admiral Ramsay in the evacuation of more than 350,000 soldiers stranded at Dunkirk. At midnight, the first soldiers from northern France arrive at Dover, most of them British. Hitler's troops have traveled more than 600 kilometers in 16 days of relentless fighting to reach the French coastal towns on the English Channel. Dunkirk is besieged. In view of the lack of success of the German Air Force against the British planes covering in the evacuation, the Nazi leader orders a land offensive against the Allied soldiers on the beaches. General Heinz Guderian considers that it is too late to force the surrender of the British Army. In London, the government replaces General Edmund Ironside, Chief of the General Staff, with General John Dill. President Roosevelt makes a radio broadcast to the country asking for Americans to cooperate in the humanitarian campaign to aid millions of people in Belgium, France, the Netherlands, and Luxembourg exposed to the aggression of Hitler's cruel totalitarian regime. In the Sea War, U-37, commanded by Victor O'Hearn, sinks the Greek merchant ship Kima, while Luftwaffe planes attack and destroy the British cruiser Curlew at Harstad to the north of Norway. Monday, May 27th. In Belgium, the German troops surround Ypres, searching for the headquarters of King Leopold, who can see no way out other than surrender. Hitler demands this should be unconditional or his country will be crushed. In France, once Calais has been taken by the Nazis, General Maxime Weygand, heading the Allied troops, orders a new counter-offensive, which is stopped by German forces. The vessels taking part in Operation Dynamo have managed to evacuate thousands of soldiers from the beaches of Dunkirk, despite the land offensive of the SS Totenkopf Division and relentless aerial attacks by the Luftwaffe, which clash with the new Supermarine Spitfire Mk2 fighters in the prelude of what will become the Battle of Britain. 57 German planes are shot down against the loss of 14 British planes. In Norway, the French General Antoine Berthier orders Franco-Polish troops to attempt a new assault on Narvik. After heavy fighting, they manage to take the city. President Roosevelt warns Mussolini that declaring war on France will have dire consequences, as the American people will see him as the accomplice of a criminal. If he refrains from declaring war, he is promised a voice in the future peace negotiations. The Italian dictator rejects the American president's proposal and refuses to meet the American ambassador in Rome. Tuesday, May 28. In Belgium, after 18 days of bloody fighting, King Leopold signs the surrender of his troops to the Third Reich and gives himself up to the Germans. In Paris, the Belgian government in exile and the Allied command receive the news with astonishment and a sense of betrayal. Churchill respects the decision, arguing that under the circumstances, they should not judge the Belgian king. No one questions the firmness and capacity of the British Prime Minister as a wartime leader. Dunkirk has increased his belief in victory, he states in the House of Commons, and no matter what happens there, he promises to continue the fight. Operation Dynamo continues, and all sorts of ships relentlessly evacuate soldiers from northern France. The Allied forces stubbornly resist the German pressure, while General de Gaulle begins a third counterattack, this time against Nazi troops located at Abbeville. He manages to push back a German battalion and takes more than 500 prisoners. Hitler orders General Heinz Guderian to take charge of the new tank group, which is to continue the campaign until the whole of France is conquered. The Belgian gold reserves reach the United States to be kept under lock and key by the Federal Reserve. Wednesday, May 29th. In France, the Germans are closing in on Dunkirk. The panzer divisions take Gravelines, and Göring orders 400 bombers and 180 fighter planes to attack the Allied troops surrounded by the 18th German Army. The destroyer HMS Grenade is sunk by Luftwaffe planes along with 6 other Royal Navy ships and 15 troop transports. In view of the situation, Admiral Ramsay decides to move the fleet away, fearing fresh attacks. Nevertheless, Operation Dynamo continues. Hitler meets with the commanders of his armies in Cambrani to oversee the final offensive against France. Rommel is convinced that the French will give up their fight before being destroyed. General von Manstein personally leads the counterattack against de Gaulle's 4th Armored Division in Abbeville. With the support of the Stukas, most of the French tanks are destroyed, and de Gaulle is forced to order retreat to the south. After the surrender of the Belgian armies, Germans occupied the cities of Ypres and Ostende. In the United States, the first tests of the F-4U Corsair plane take place. In the Naval War, the British destroyers HMS Wakeful and HMS Grafen are sunk by U-62, commanded by Hans Michalowski, and Victor O'Hearn's U-37 sinks the French merchant ships Maria Jose and Telena. Thursday, May 30th. In France, clashes between the RAF and the Luftwaffe take place in the skies over Dunkirk, while the evacuation of soldiers to England continues. The faster British planes move with agility through the smoke and mist, which they use to their advantage. Nevertheless, a French destroyer and 9 transport ships are sunk by German fire. Meanwhile, Wehrmacht troops engage in vicious combats with the Allied units covering the retreat. General Franz Halder, who has been critical of the Nazi strategy throughout the invasion, comments that thousands of enemy soldiers are escaping to Great Britain under our noses. In Paris, de Gaulle is decorated by the French government. Even though he has been defeated, he is praised for his bravery in the counterattacks. In London, due to the complaints from the French government that only British soldiers are being evacuated from Dunkirk, Churchill is forced to order the evacuation of an equal number of French and British. Mussolini spurns the approaches of Roosevelt and the French government and sets the date of the 5th of June for the Italian entry into the war in support of the Third Reich. Friday, May 31st. The American president again warns Mussolini about Italy's involvement in the war. The United States will be forced to offer more support to France and Great Britain, he says. At the same time, he asks Congress for a $1 billion defense program to be pushed forward, which will make the United States Armed Forces the largest in the world. In London, the government removes all important road signs fearing a German airborne invasion. In Paris, the Allied Supreme War Council meets. Renault and Pétain ask Churchill to send more troops to France. The British Prime Minister responds that no more troops are available as they are needed to defend Britain from a possible Nazi invasion. They agree that if Italy enters the war, it will be immediately attacked by the Allies. Churchill expresses his wish to keep Spain out of the war. Soon after returning to London, the British leader receives the news from his envoy in the United States that General Marshall, Chief of the American General Staff, believes it is necessary to make an exception to their neutrality laws and send a large amount of weapons to Britain. In the Battle of the Atlantic, U-13 is sunk by Royal Navy ships, while U-101 sinks the British ships Stanhope and Orangemore.